One of the things in New Braunfels that people hate is more cars on the road, increased traffic times, more congestion out there right now, especially with our growth the past few years. Another thing people in New Braunfels sound off about is a lack of parks. We need more green space. These two hot button topics could get solved very soon in New Braunfels, plus a new library possibly on the way in a much needed area of New Braunfels. If you guys are new here to my channel, thank you so much for hopping aboard, because every week we're trying to put out relevant content just like this about what it's like to live in New Braunfels. When you grow as much as we have, especially the last 3 years in New Braunfels, you're gonna have growing pains. And transportation, getting around town is a point of pain here. Now, state dollars have helped improve mobility in New Braunfels the last 3 years by adding lanes to 3 major areas here. One of those areas is on one of our main loops, 337, and it's improved traffic with added lanes. Another area is on our main highway, I-35, coming in and out of New Braunfels. That's helped improve traffic as well. And the third major area is Creekside Shopping. It used to take forever to get in and out of Creekside because of everything that's going on. But since lanes have been added and traffic signals, it's gotten much better. But there's more that needs to be done with transportation. Our infrastructure just hasn't caught up with all of our growth the past few years. Plus, there's more that needs to be done with amenities in the city, as well as resources for families. All 3 of those things, transportation, parks, libraries, are the 3 proposed projects that could be funded in the May bond election. The decision comes down to us, to some of you, New Braunfels voters. It's a $140 million bond package. Almost 3/4 of the money, $100 million, would go toward transportation, toward street improvements throughout the city. And that includes widening Common Street to 4 lanes with turn lanes. Now that's huge. That'll help because Common Street is a main connector between our 2 main loops, 337 and 306. And it's really one of the main streets that leads into our historical district of Green, plus all the business and commercial and multifamily development along Common Street the last couple of years. And part of that $100 million includes making intersection improvements to Loop 337, also to Green Road and Old FM 306, as well as FM 306. Also, because of all of our growth, widening roads, more roads like Barbarossa, Kohlenberg, and Conrad's. Kohlenberg is East New Braunfels, and that area is developing, especially with the new manufacturing plant, Continental, that makes sensors and radars for cars. And that Kohlenberg leads to overlook at Creekside and residential and more development in the area. So going from 2 to 4 lanes is going to help. Conrad's in the opposite direction, West New Braunfels, heads back to where there is growing residential in that area. Cloud Country is out there, as well as Perry Homes and Highland Homes coming soon. A lot more development coming to Northwest New Braunfels as well. And whenever you widen things, you add more lanes, you're gonna have to have some management, some control over that, and traffic lights, adding traffic signals is a part of this package. Okay, enough talk about pavement and widening roads. Let's talk about widening green space in New Braunfels. And $12 million of this $140 million bond package for May election is earmarked for finishing a new park in New Braunfels. It's called Mission Hill Park, and Mission Hill Park is right next door to West Point Village and HEB, and also it borders the new apartments going up. How about living in these new apartments when they open up, and this is your amenity? Acres of green space. We first covered this last year when it was in its very rawest, its very beginning stage, and look at it now, guys. We have hard trails, we have soft trails, acres of green space. So this $12 million would go toward finishing the park, including the observation tower and canopy walk, and also an event area, more parking and restrooms as well. And a completed Mission Hill Park would be the first public park in New Braunfels west of 337, which is important because this area has just exploded the last few years with our master plan community Veramendi, thousands more residents, and Veramendi is building 3 parks that will eventually be open also to the general public. How's that for green space? Verimandy's 3 eventual regional parks, Mission Hill Park developing, Landa Park, where we're almost always at, and Fisher Park. All right, guys, time to hit the books, as in library books, because $28 million of the $140 million bond proposal package is earmarked for a new library in a needed and growing part of New Braunfels. The new library would be built at South Walnut and Settlers Crossing if voters say yes in May. This is huge, guys, because our one open library right now is on the west side, as is the new soon-to-be completed library in southwest New Braunfels, but both those are on the west side. East New Braunfels is growing with all the residential developments brought on by our growth, especially families with kids under 18. That is one of our fastest growing segments in New Braunfels. In fact, the proposed library has 6 schools within walking distance and would include after-school programs, computers, study rooms, meeting rooms, and garden space. A new library, a park to be finished, roads to be widened, and how much is going to cost us? I mean, what's it going to hit us with? The city says there's going to be absolutely no tax rate increase because these are bond projects where the city sells bonds to investors and repays the investors with revenue from property taxes. Now, the city also goes off growth data from the past 4 or 5 years to project the next 4 to 5 years when selling bonds to investors to help support these bonds as part of that investment. And guys, this is also very important to note that dozens of New Braunfels residents actually sat down in meetings with the city and worked with the city to help determine these bond projects. Okay, zip it. Enough from me. I want to hear from you guys. If you're voting in this election, yay or nay, let me know in the comment section below. And if you plan on moving to New Braunfels, is this a good sign? If you plan on moving here, and if you were here, would you support it right now? Also, let me know in the comment section below. And whether you're thinking about moving to New Braunfels or moving away from New Braunfels, either way, I'd love to be your real estate resource of choice. You can email me, you can call me, or you can shoot me a text. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching our videos, and we'll see you on the next one.